Hi guys, so I spent some time with Enlisted recently, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So I thought I'd just check in with you guys and see if you've got any opinions on it too. Now, if you don't know what Enlisted is, I'll briefly catch you up on it. Enlisted is a World War II multiplayer FPS that released on PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X consoles. It is crossplay, I believe, and it's currently in open beta on all platforms and is predominantly going to be free to play. Now, the general vibe around the game in the media coverage is pretty positive at this point, and already it's built up a small community, which is good. It's a really good sign. If you've ever played Heroes and Generals, that's another free-to-play World War II game that's sort of similar, and based on the fact that it's produced by the same people, of course. But in core mechanics, the games couldn't be any further apart, really. In terms of what I think straight off the bat, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. It brings a lot of positives, that's for sure. But there's a few minor concerns that I will touch on later on. But I do want to focus on the good stuff first. So let's break down some of the features that I do like. So the general idea of the game is that you have yourself and an AI squad. Now, before you get into the game, you can customize each member of your squad, what guns they have, what perks they have, equipment, stuff like that. And it really makes you feel somewhat unique as well, because you build your own squad and everyone else has different kind of setups in their own team. And when you take you guys into the game, that's when the mechanics kind of shine in that aspect. Now, in the main game mode, you and 11, 12 other real-life teammates all take control of your own AI squad mates and attempt to capture flags in the standard conquest domination style of game. But as you play, you can give your AI teammates kind of basic orders. Now, like, you know, attack here, defend here, go there kind of thing, and they can be useful, but you know, the majority of the time they're kind of janky and broken, and I will cover that a little bit in a moment. But the other really cool thing about these squad mates is that they also act like lives as well, kind of, in a sense. I mean, if you die and one of your squad mates is still alive, you can spawn back instantly as one of them, wherever they may be, whatever equipment or perks they have. So getting that balance in your squad is really important, because you could be playing as each one of those AI members at some point, so you don't want to leave someone short. Now, there are some really nice things that they include as well. Whilst you play, you unlock different types of squads, so during the match you can change to a different one if you have them, like a tank crew, which is really cool, a sniper unit, and I think there's even pilots as well. And then you can upgrade these individually, which adds a nice another layer of depth into the gameplay loop. But let's look at the real reason why you might actually want to play this game. Now, it comes down to 2 points, I feel personally, which lend themselves quite nicely together actually. And the first one is the gameplay is relatively unique. It is time to kill, being super short, it's quite lethal, and it's mixed between its hardcore mil-sim vibe and it touches on some arcade aspects as well. And it kind of somehow manages to blend these two categories really well. The fact that it's on console as well is a huge aspect of this too, because console players have been starved of this kind of mil-sim, armor, squad, hell at loose kind of game for way too long, in my opinion. And maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe it's just it wouldn't do very well, and you know, consoles are more casual-based platform. Personally, I still feel there's a healthy group of people that are solely on console and want something like squad or hell let loose. So making a game that's kind of free to play, crossplay, and a good mix of that sounds like a kind of winning recipe to me. Now, before I sound like this game's biggest fan, I do have a couple of things that I want to touch on that weren't so great. So the first one being the menus. I mean, just look at them. They're so bland. I actually feel like the rice cakes of menus. They serve a purpose, don't get me wrong, but that's literally all they do. They just exist. I don't think it helps the fact that they just kind of don't make sense either. The main screen that you see when you first boot up the game is a squad screen. At no point does it really tell you what you're looking at and why. And yes, of course, you'll figure out why and what it is in time. But a lot could be done to improve this, I feel. Like, especially if you're a new player and just getting into it, you might feel a bit overwhelmed or lost and potentially just stop playing because you just don't know what you're doing. For example, I mean, these cards that you earn as well, and in the top right-hand side corner, you get these for completing challenges. Do you know what they do? Well, I'll read out to you what the game tries to tell you they do, okay, and see if it makes sense to you. Orders for troops. You can use this order to get more troops and logistics. Now, after playing the game a little bit, it kind of makes sense to me. It does. But it's still not very clear. I mean, like, what? what am I supposed to be looking at? What does it actually do then? Just tell me. And what it is the logistics screen is actually the store screen. And it's the first thing you'll probably be asking yourself, really, is what is that screen? and it's just the standard free-to-play store model where you can either use these cards that you earn or real-world money to purchase extra equipment, extra soldiers, extra weapons, whatever it might be for your squads. So it's nothing too special, to be honest. Other than that, though, it's just a few minor things that could use some improvement. For example, the squad AI pathing is just ridiculous at this moment. Like, if you tell someone to go in that direction, they'll do a full 360 before going in that direction. Or a really funny moment happened to me where I was on top of a ladder, and I was like, oh, guys, come up here. We need you up on these ladders. And they just stood there staring at a ladder, clueless. Even when I went down and tried to help them, they just did not know what to do. Now, these things can be improved, and there are other bugs as well that need ironing out, but there's nothing I really want to touch on because I'm sure they will. The developers seem committed enough to get rid of these few things, so I'm fine with it. So overall, the value is there for Enlisted, and I highly recommend you try it out for yourself and see what you think. I like it, and I definitely will be keeping a close eye on it in the near future, as they do seem to be updating it fairly frequently. So yeah, I mean, that's it, really. They're my thoughts on Enlisted. Are you going to give it a shot? Have you already tried it? Let me know in the comments below. I am eager to hear from you. If you're new around here, though, and you like what you see, consider subscribing, hitting that like button. That'd be the best. You'd be the best. But until next time, guys, cheers.